Hello, hello. Welcome to Mindset to Results. Today we have amazing guest at our podcast, Frank Campbell. Hi, Frank.
Hello, Elena. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. I know that you independent insurance analyst with experience more than 30 years in this industry. And today we will speak about a topic which is very important for business owners, entrepreneurs, how to protect themselves, and know that they are safe and they have funds when they expect it the most.
Um, that's what I'm about. Yes.
Yes, welcome, welcome. And before we start discussing this topic, it would be good if you share a little bit about yourself and why you're so passionate about this and how it's all started. And later we will go to this topic deeper.
Okay. Well, I had a successful career as a financial advisor and I retired. It was fun, but I got to journey with people and watch the things that we did, the seeds that we planted bear fruit. And it's gratifying. And I had a good time in retirement. I did, I wrote down 30 things I haven't done in 30 years, and then I started doing them.
Mm,
And
amazing.
14 months later, I was on number 28, and I said, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I looked around, and there was a study years ago that said that 80%, oh, actually 88% of existing life insurance policies are never going to pay a beneficiary. And it doesn't have to be that way. But how do you, as a business owner, as a human being, understand whether you're safe with that insurance policy or not? It's complicated. And I wanted to simplify it. So I started this business to give people an independent way to understand what they have and where it's going. Um, if I can give you an analogy I like,
Mm-hmm.
Titanic was the unsinkable ship. And there were two or three really good reasons why it could have avoided that iceberg. And the big one was the Captain Smith didn't have enough information. The radioman didn't tell him something. The navigator didn't realize they were 10 miles off course. Uh, if he'd only had the information, they would have tied up in New York City on time and we wouldn't even remember the name of the ship 100 years later. It's that way with life insurance policies too. It's confusing and complicated. And how could I come up with something that was simple, that everybody could understand all the important parts of their policy and avoid the iceberg? So instead of insurance companies eight, beneficiaries two, our process turns that around and it becomes beneficiaries eight, insurance companies two.
Yes, it is very interesting topic. I never thought about this myself, that 88% fail to pay people what they have to receive. It is a huge number.
It
And
is.
how can it be? People think about insurance that it is like something 100% guaranteed. And this is what they pay, and they know that the time come and they will get paid. How it can it be possible that 88% of people don't get their money paid?
Good question. Years ago, life insurance policies had unconditional guarantees. If you pay this premium, we will pay this death benefit when your heart stops. It was simple. But about 30 or 40 years ago, they came out with a little twist on it, and the policies sound better. It's new economics. It does look better on paper. But what they don't remind you of is that it has conditional guarantees. If we pay this amount and if we don't increase our charges, which they can do, it doesn't change the premium, Elena. It just increases the internal costs. If we don't do that and we get this rate of return, you're going to be fine. Ah, but if it doesn't, and it hardly ever does, if it doesn't, then the responsibility is on you, and then you have the ability, the responsibility to pay higher premiums to make up the cost. Uh, and so they've shifted the responsibility ultimately on the policyholder, and they don't give you enough knowledge to understand exactly how to manage what you have.
And when the time comes to pay, what they say?
They say, I see it all the time, Elena. I get letters from people, engagements saying, I just got this letter from the company. I've been paying this premium for 15 years, and now they're saying that it's out of gas and I've got to increase the premium or the policy is going to lapse. Um, One example of a case I was familiar with, fellow bought a policy. On paper, it looked exactly right. He paid this amount
Mhm.
for so many years, and he did it. What he didn't do was check the policy out. He put it in the drawer and forgot about it. It's $1 million policy for mom, and now it's 14 years later. Uh, he's in hospice, and they get a letter saying the policy ran out of gas. Sorry. If you want to keep it, you need to do that. You need to make this bigger payment now. He's in hospice. Mom's never had anything to do with it in the first place. She didn't understand it, and she didn't even have an agent any longer to go to.
Mhm.
She didn't she didn't know what to do, and so she ignored the letter. She called the company a few times, but didn't understand what they were sharing with her.
Mhm.
She didn't make the payment. The policy lapsed, and dad died 2 months later, and mom didn't get her $1 million. It was just like the iceberg on the Titanic, Elena. It didn't have to be that way, but you don't take it and put it in a drawer and leave it for 15 years. You have to manage it. And I wanted a process where you, as the consumer, an intelligent person who can make your own decisions, has the information you need to make the proper decisions about your policy and make sure it's still doing what it's supposed to. Are we still on course? Is it doing what it's supposed to? If not, what can I do to adjust it? And that's what we help people do.
Yes, it is very, very important what you just said, because of course people trust the companies and they think that if it is signed, they can just keep it in the drawer, and sometimes they even don't know where this document is. Yes, because they know that
Yes,
they can call the company and just get everything from there.
exactly. And the companies change as time goes on.
Mm.
And and if you don't look at it, maybe I had a case where they bought the policy and he had 2 children. Well, I'm looking at the policy years later and he's got 3 children. He never added that third child to the beneficiary arrangement. Now, before they have to pay a claim, that's an easy thing to fix, but it's just an example of out of sight, out of mind. I haven't tried this example before. You may need to edit it out or something, but I think about it like you go down and you buy a nice pot roast and it's a perfect piece of meat, but you're not going to fix it right now. So you take it and put it in the freezer and then you forget about it for a long time. And when you go to pull it out 2 years later, it'll thaw out, but it might not be as tasty as it would have been because it's just not fresh. You should have checked it before.
Mhm.
I'll work on that one. Um, it doesn't have to be that way. So we designed a system where we go to the insurance company that issued the policy and we get specific information on that policy. and then we filter it through our process and give you back, the consumer, one page, not 38 pages, or one page that has everything you need to know to understand that your policy is going to be safe, or if not, what you need to do to keep it that way. And if it's like the 88% of the policies we encounter, sometimes it's an easy fix, just add the child to the beneficiary. But we help the people make the changes they need to keep the policy in force.
Mhm. Yes, very, very valuable, very valuable information, because I think that people, when they speak to these consultants, they trust them. They think this is like authority. This is, they know what is they do, and this is how they want to protect me, and everything is safe. And of course, as you said, 88% of failure. It is too big number.
It is. It's amazing. And it, like I said, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yes, so let's discuss more in details what people have to put attention when they think about life insurance, and how important is to have life insurance. What is your opinion? How important is to have? Maybe there are other alternatives, or if they go for life insurance, what is important to notice? Yes, and question to make sure that it will really work.
Ah, life insurance is not just a contract. What it really is a pile of money. And if you're a breadwinner and you've got a family and a 14-year-old child that's going to be going to college, you're planning for that, you're doing your thing. But in that sense, you're really just a money machine. I bring in this much money every month, and with that, we can do all the plans that we're talking about. And then all of a sudden, you're not here. There was an accident, and the money machine stopped. Well, your child and his parents still need money to take care of, to live and to go to college and complete the plans that you wanted. So it's not just a contract. It's a pile of money that when you walk out, the money walks in and keeps the people you love safe. And it does the same thing for businesses, Elena. If you and I are in business, uh, we've got a good business and we're generating a lot of revenue, and you're doing your part and I'm doing my part. And suddenly I'm not here to do my part. You have two problems. The first one, obviously, is how are you going to have somebody come in and do what I'm doing? And is that going to cost extra money? And the other part is my wife, because she knows I own 50% of this good business, and you're going to owe her a whole bunch of money for her 50%. Now, you can go to the bank and borrow it, but you still have to pay. You have to pay the money back. You have to pay the principal and you have to pay the interest. How about if we get a good life insurance contract that's a pile of money, and if I don't make it one day, we've paid the interest, but the insurance company pays the principal. It's much less expensive, and I've seen so many businesses where that happened. You know, Frank's never going to die. Well, yeah, sometimes he does. And I've seen so many businesses that were done right where the business continued on and didn't have this great big debt cripple them going forward. So a policy can help you keep the business going and pay off your debt to my wife. And another policy can also give you some extra money to hire somebody to come in and learn how to do what I do. And I really like the idea that it's going to be there when you need it, not give you a surprise down the road.
Mhm. Yes, so life insurance is not a question, it is like must, yes. So the question which we want to discuss today is how to create the right contract, yes, how to be aware of the contract and of any changes to make it work. So it looks like it depends on the person to make it work more than on company. Yes, because company can send a letter, and if the person doesn't understand what is it about and doesn't take any actions, in 10 years he will be told that we notified you, but we didn't hear from you, and now you don't get anything, right? Is it something like this?
It happens far too often, and it can all be avoided just by saying, okay, every 5 years I'm going to review my policy and know exactly what it's doing. Is it really on course? Or, and many times the policies are doing better when they're properly done, Elena. But 80% of the time or more, you just put it in a drawer and forgot about it. Or maybe you didn't put the pot roast in the refrigerator. Maybe you put it in the cupboard, and then all of a sudden it starts to smell. That's a
Mhm.
bad example. But it ruins the pile of money. That's what you want to do. If you have money in a retirement plan, your investments, you look at them every month, don't you?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, well then you should look at your life insurance as money, and you need to watch it. And what's happening these days is responsibility is on you, but how can you understand easily? How can you be really good at what you do and also understand all the things there are in the life insurance policy? I had to buy a new car last year. And in the glove compartment, Elena, was a 500-page booklet explaining all the different things on the book and what I need to do. I am never going to read that book. But they also had a little flyer about 6 pages that was the quick start. Here's the main things you need to know.
Hmm.
I read that one. Okay. Well, for your life insurance, you don't have that. All you have is 38 pages of legalese, and you don't have the time, or it's not the best use of your time to read all those pages. Uh, it's worse than counting sheep. But how about if we could come up with a one-page statement on that policy every now and then that tells you exactly what you need to know, and you don't have to read the 500-page book. You just have to read the one page, and and we've done it in a way that a 12-year-old can understand it. It's the legal stuff is there, but it's not in legalese. It's in common language that everybody can understand. And then you can make an informed decision about your policy and feel good that you're going to tie up in New York in time and on time and not hit that iceberg.
Yes, very important. Which questions people should ask themselves when they sign life insurance agreement?
Uh,
Is there any particular things which we can share and people will know and can benefit from this?
Elena, I'm going to make this really easy for you because I wrote a book. It's called it's called How to Do a Proper Policy Review, No Beneficiaries Left Behind. And your listeners can get it by going to my website. The website is stratusfp.com/free book. stratusfp.com/free book. And a few people told me I was crazy to write the book because that book answers all of your questions. I took all my secrets and I put it in that book so that a person can read it in less than an hour and know that they need to check about the financial security of the company. There's a lot of companies that get risky over the years and they aren't as financially sound. Well, put yourself in logic here. If I'm a well-funded company, I can make decisions based on my client's my policyholder's best interest, right?
Mhm.
if I'm financially troubled, I'm going to have to maybe balance things out and make some decisions that aren't necessarily good for my policyholders, but I need to do it to generate revenue or stock prices or whatever. So then the company serves itself more than it serves its customers. So is it financially sound? Are they going to focus on you? Are they going to be here 50 years from now to pay that claim? Look at the company. And then look at the type of policy and make sure it's appropriate for, is it short term? My child's going to college and after that I don't need the insurance. Well, then you get a different type of policy than if this is going to help my wife be comfortable in retirement or my business partner be able to continue the business without the stress of a big debt. Um, the company, then think about the beneficiaries. Very often what we see is, too often we see, they don't have an up-to-date will or a trust. And then the law here says, if I just name my son Fred the beneficiary, it's all his at 18 with no control. And let's say there's $5 million in there. Do you want to give an 18-year-old $5 million with no control? So some of it is just logic. Let's talk about how to structure the beneficiary arrangement. So Fred's motivated to go to college and what's the word? Uh,
Mature, mature his relationship
yes,
with money.
sure. So let's think about the company. Let's think about the beneficiaries. Let's think about the type of policy. And is it going to help me do what I want to do? Is it going to complete what I need completed? So stratusfp.com/free book.
Yeah, thank you so much, Frank. We will put the link to this source in description to this episode so everyone can find this book and read and learn from you.
Thank you, Elena. I said it so that people can understand. Again, you don't need me to make a decision for you. What you need is information so you can make an informed decision.
Yes, yes, it is so important to have the knowledge, as you said, with that example with Titanic. Yes, knowledge, they didn't have information and it became such a tragedy. And also, when people go blind to do something and not getting in control, everything what is related with finances, it can be also crashing. Yes, it can be tragedy because from my experience, everywhere where I invested and didn't know where I'm investing, I lost that money. So what I learned that whatever comes related with money, you should really get into it and understand everything, how it works. Yes, have control over situation, and only then you can invest. Even if those payments for life insurance don't look big, yeah, they look small, but it is money, and this is all about relations with money. It's like when we put money, we have also to put our mind and reason and understand what we are doing and get it in control. So as you said before, you recommended to check insurance policy every 5 years. Is that right? Or we have to do it even more often?
I've seen policies that were 5 years old that weren't performing the way they were presented. And
Mhm.
I've seen some policies that are 20 years old that are doing just fine. But it was a good company with good guarantees. It was appropriate for the person. And if it's really good, wouldn't you like some independent person like me to say, to reinforce for you that it's good and you're safe? We do that 20% of the time. The other part, we help you fix it.
Mhm. Yes, so also you help to fix it. Yes, so if there is something wrong, what is the way to fix it? Because depending, like based on what you said, the company just say, "Oh, it is just your fault because you didn't answer our notice. You didn't do anything about that." So what is the way to fix?
The more one of the more common things I see, Elena, uh, I can think of one company in particular. It's a good big name international company. Uh, but a few years ago, they raised their internal charges. So if you were paying $10,000 a year, uh, they were taking 2,000 of it to keep themselves. The other 8,000 was working for your policy. It'll last forever that way. But they raised their charges inside and now they're taking 3,500 of the 10,000. You're still paying 10,000, but
Mhm.
they're taking more. What they didn't do, because the regulators don't require them to, they'll tell you, hey, Elena, if you look at the annual statement, we raised the cost of insurance by this much. Well, let's put that in black and white. Elena, we raised our charges by $1,500 a year. And if you want to have the same degree of security and safety that you initially did, you should pay an additional 1,500 a year to, and the policy will be fine.
Mhm.
But if you don't know it, it's not going to happen. And then the policy starts running low where you could have easily paid the other 1,500 and avoided the iceberg.
Mhm.
Uh, that's a common one. It's like how to fix it. Just understand what are the costs and what's it take to make sure the policy is going to be here when you're age 100.
Yes,
Don't
and people cannot do anything about that. It's like it means that when we sign the agreement for 20 years, there are certain rules, and it looks like every time company can change the rules, and you cannot do anything. So is that fair? It looks like it is not fair because the rules shouldn't change after you sign agreement with the company and they declare that this is agreement for 20 years.
uh, I understand exactly what you're saying, Elena, and I don't want to disrespect insurance. I've seen the good that life insurance does when it's needed and when it's done right. But that's part of the thing you need when you're looking at the policies and deciding to buy it. The policy I described has conditional guarantees.
Mhm.
So it says if we don't raise that $1,500, you're going to be fine, but we have the right to do it.
Mhm.
Maybe a different policy type, one that has unconditional guarantees is what you need. So that if their costs go up, it doesn't matter. They're still going to charge you $10,000 a year and they're still going to pay when you need to be paid. Is it, uh, is it a dependable vehicle or is it finicky? Um, I have I'm a kind of a car guy, all right? And I have a really high performance Mustang and it's lovely to drive. I haven't had anything go wrong with it. I take it down to the dealer and he charges me $150 and he services it. I've got a friend with a Porsche and it's a fabulous car. It's fabulous. But every time he goes down to the dealer, it's $3,500 to service. Oh, and then he let it sit too long and it wouldn't pass a smog check. He went back to the dealer and they wanted $4,000 to replace the stuff so it would pass the smog check. It's 2 years old. Or the guy said you could just take it out and drive it for 3,500 miles and all the things will start coming. He wasn't driving it. He was looking at it. It looked beautiful in his garage. I'd rather have my Mustang and not have to worry about things like that. And he's fine with it because he has a lot of money in other cars. So he has his Porsche and I have my Mustang and we're both very happy. You should be the same thing when you look at a life insurance policy. Is this one going to be, do, do you want to not have to pay all those things to the dealer or do you have to want to pay more? I don't know. It's up to you.
Mhm. I think that my kind of thinking is to have that unconditional guarantee when I sign, that I know, yes, this is I sign, these are the rules, and I can be safe for next 10 or 20 years. And I think I would rather go for that, to be clear, because I don't like to be in some relations, yes, when you just put in fact like this is what you have to do, and when you don't have any way out, is because you're already paying and you cannot just stop that, right? And this is just how you just can have to accept. So for me personally, I think I would prefer that unconditional guarantee, to make sure to sign one time and then check, of course, in time, but not change the rules in the middle of the game. This is, I think I would do that.
So a nice question to ask when you're looking at insurance is, does this have conditional guarantees or unconditional guarantees? And then you know which one you want.
Yes, so even our listeners, even if they learn one lesson, I think this would be a good lesson, yes, to ask this question.
Right. It's not a contract that you put in the drawer and forget. It's a pile of money that you need to make sure is doing what you want it to do and no surprises 15 or 20 years down the road.
Mhm. And beside of that, I wanted to ask the question how to choose the right company. You said there are good companies, maybe there are not very good companies. So what is the indicators of really having good company and having that confidence that this company will last for that long, how long the agreement is and more?
The short answer to that is to be aware as a consumer to ask the question, tell me about this company. And then if it's and you also want somebody who's really cared about your success, not just you buying a policy. Um, if you go to the doctor and they're not really listening to you and they just give you some medicine and send you out the door, it's probably not the one you want. You want the one who's going to get engaged and say, this is what this means to you. Somebody that cares for you. So that's once you find that, it's the quality of the representative and are they an agent or a broker? An agent works for one company and maybe it's a good company, but maybe it's not, and they may not even realize the difference. So I do like choices and objectivity. And as a broker, if somebody needs insurance, we can shop for the best one. If you if you smoke cigars, then one company might give you a tobacco rating, and another one might say, well, it's only occasional. We'll still give you a preferred rating, a non-smoker rate. Which company is going to do that? You need to shop it to find that out. Some companies will look at high blood pressure more seriously than others. Or or you go scuba diving and you go below 60 feet when you go scuba diving. Some companies will still issue a standard policy and some companies will waive it. So it's your particular needs and your particular situation, and then let's go find a good company that's going to give you the best rate. Um, so again, it's awareness, Elena.
Mhm.
How do you do it? Check out the company. If you don't, nobody asks about the company. So just being aware as you are now, I would like to know, tell me about the goodness of this company. How old is it? How are they rated? Is a good one. Um, a, a, I won't name any companies, but there's some that are 100% out of 100, and there's some that are 30% out of 100. So in my book, you can look it up and see, let's go find a rating agency and check out this company. Are they really good? or have they changed over the years?
Mhm. Yes, yes, it is all important. And what is of course, there is no guarantee in life, only one that we all die. But anyway, when we choose a company, how we can choose one that we like has more chance to continue in 20 or 30 years? Are there cases when company bankrupts, and is there any government, do they back up them, or how it works?
I might get in trouble for saying this, but the companies are regulated by the government. And the companies, all of them, comply with what the government says you have to do. But some companies don't really care about the dynamics. And how do you find that out? A good company is going to be rated properly. There's AM Best, and there's several rating agencies. You don't want one, you don't want a B plus company, you want an A plus company. And the difference in premiums between the two isn't that much, if anything. So why would I go buy a Yugo when I could buy a Chevrolet? Um, Many times people don't realize that it's a company on financial troubles. And one of the things that's happening these days, it's an accounting, it is. It's an accounting situation. I've got this really expensive bunch of business on my books, and it's costly. Uh, so I'm going to go ahead and sell that book of business to an investment firm. I'll sell it at a discount, and it'll still say the company name on the paper, but I'm no longer going to own that policy because I'm going to sell it to them. They're going to be responsible for it. Here you are sitting there with your contract, even if the premiums are guaranteed. But these new guys don't care about you. They care about return on investment. And you're not going to get the same level of service. They're not going to make the same important decisions to be there. And so, is this a company that's solid on its own, like the Rock of Gibraltar? Or is it a company that they sold off that bad book of business and now their accounting looks really good again? So their stock value goes up.
Mhm.
But the book of business that was toxic is still over here, and those insureds are at great risk. So ask about the company. And now I'm the first one you ever heard to say that, but it's important.
Mhm. But how we can know that this will not happen with any company in the future? Do they have any regulations that it says that they cannot sell to anybody else and they only have the responsibility to uh, fulfill what they promised?
All the companies, again, do what the regulators want. But the truth, Elena, is that things are changing in the business so much that the regulators can't keep up. And that example I told you before about mom not getting the $1 million, somebody should have sent dad a letter saying, hey, you haven't looked at this policy in 10 years, but here's where we are. And you need to add another $1,500 a year to make sure it will be here for mom. They aren't required to disclose it that simply, not to put it in simple language. So it's obscured. The regulators will catch up with it someday, but they haven't yet. Um, so that puts you, the consumer, again at risk.
Mhm. Yes. So if we want to resume what we discussed, that it is our responsibility. Yeah, whatever we start, any agreement, we have to take responsibility and know exactly what we are signing, what are the rules, what is the company, and what can be different scenarios, so we can keep in control and keep a view on changes if they happen in the company and what we have to do in those regards.
that sounds really oppressive, Elena. It's like what you need to do is get the little short version, but you know you have a good company, you know you have a policy that's designed to do what it's supposed to, and you don't have to open up the glove box and pull out the 500 page, because that's not the best use of your time. The best use of your time is taking care of your customers and having good podcasts. You don't want to know all that stuff about insurance, but you want to know the big things, right? Okay.
Yes, so now when I know you, I don't need that anymore, of course. Yes,
Well,
and, I appreciate you sharing this in our podcast because this information is very, very important and it can save so many people big money in lives, yes, and their time and their peace in their mind. They're very important. Thank you so much.
it's a pleasure to be here, Elena. Again, I appreciate you having me, and uh, maybe next time we'll talk about my business because it didn't exist. I had to invent everything and start it up, but now we're getting. I'm not international, but I'm national, and people are inquiring from around the country to ask us to do our service. So thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you for letting me share the gospel.
Yeah, definitely. It is so important. And thank you so much for what you do and helping business owners and people to protect themselves, yes, and have their money when they need them the most. And I'm looking forward to see you again on our next episode where we will speak more about your business.
Thank you, Elena. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate what you're doing.
You're most welcome. And before we wrap up this episode, what would be one thing that you would like to advise people who are listening to us? Maybe some wisdom which you would like to share.
Well, most of your listeners are businessmen and entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
Okay. Long time ago, a friend of mine told me to be successful in business, you only have to work a half a day. And it doesn't matter which 12 hours you pick. Well, the challenge on that then is once you get to that point, how do you refine it down? And in my experience, you find good people to work with you and you delegate things and then it's I don't know. I don't think I don't want to work a half a day, Elena, but I don't want to work 12 hours either. So find good people, empower them, delegate to your business, and everybody will grow and flourish.
Wow, amazing. I love that. Thank you so much, Fred, for being amazing guest at our show and looking forward to see you again.
Thank you, Elena. Again, it's been a privilege to be here. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Oh, I thought we already stopped.